Hey, what's going on, you guys? I'm back to you again, and this is from Bossip and the Bossip staff. It says justice for Chrystul Kizer. If I mispronounce anybody's name in here, please, in advance, forgive me. She is a Wisconsin teen who was involved in she's a sex trafficking victim. She faces life in prison for killing her known 33-year-old abuser. Okay? The story of Chrystul Kizer mirrors that of recently freed Miss Brown. We all know her story. Both women were victims of sex trafficking and abuse. Both women killed the men who abused them. Both women were vigorously prosecuted by the state for protecting themselves. Chrystul has not yet been convicted of killing her abuser, a white man named Randy Voller, back in May of 2018. According to the Washington Post, the 33-year-old Voller met Chrystul when she was only 16 and would go on to sexually abuse her multiple times. He filmed all of their encounters. In fact, he filmed and sexually assaulted almost a dozen different black girls. In February of 2018, police arrested Voller on numerous charges of child enticement, using a computer in facilitate a child sex crime, and second-degree sexual assault of a child. He was facing 40 years in prison and should have been hit with a big cash bail. Somehow he was released without bail and would be free for 3 months until Chrystul Kizer shot him in the head and set his body and house on fire and drove off in his BMW. Days later, she confessed to the crime, and the same DA, Michael Gravely, who let Voller walk, immediately charged Chrystul with arson and first-degree intentional homicide and set her bail to $1 million. She's facing life in prison while arguing that she killed Voller, defending herself after he had pinned her down for denying him sex. She also alleges that Voller sold her to multiple men as a trafficker. Above is a heart-wrenching photo of Chrystul's mother, Devore Taylor, reading the police investigation on the most disgusting details of Voller's sex crimes for the very first time. Can you imagine the pain? Wisconsin is an affirmative defense state in which sex trafficking victims can be exonerated for certain crimes if they can prove that they were being trafficked. However, the defense has never been used to defend a murder or violent crime, according to the WAPO report. The judge was set to rule on whether he would allow this defense to be used for the very first time in a murder case, but couldn't bring himself to decide. After an emotional hearing, Dave stated that all parties will reconvene in 30 days. The story is infuriating, tragic, and sad, and any number of heartbroken objectives. Chrystul Kizer was a talented violinist and a wildly creative artist. There is much more to her life beyond being a victim of sex trafficking, but as a victim, she deserves the full protection of the law. We highly suggest you read the entire story here and do what you can to support this sister against a system that does not give a damn about people who look like her. Okay? And there's also another story. There is an actual update to this story. Um, she is currently out now, and this is the update, the most recent update. And this article right here is done by I am Danny Canada, and she is now out on a $400,000 bond. She has had countless of support of people coming out and to fight for her, to help fight her defense. Um, Named most notably the Chicago Community Bond Fund, the Milwaukee Freedom Fund, Surviving and Punishment. Okay, so those are some of the places that have came out to help her in the defense. And in a quote, and a statement that they made, they say, "We are elated to know that Chrystul will no longer be locked in a cage simply for wanting to live." The organization said in its statement, no one should be incarcerated for surviving violence against them. Far too often, survivors of violence, especially black women and girls, are punished for defending themselves. The statement said Chrystul's case highlights the urgent need for the criminal legal system to stop prosecuting survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault. A national bail fund for survivors of domestic violence and sexual violence will be established when Kizer's case ends with the bond money. The organization also added, and this is actually the tweet from them. You can go check that out. It's a Chicago Community Bond Fund, and they've been doing a lot. So please go and check them out. She is home. She